Things that annoyed me in FPL this week. Antonio, red card, and Salah was my only attacker that got me points. But my defence did save me this week. Well, sort of. Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today's video is the Game Week 5 watch list. So in this video, I'm going to talk through 8 players that are good for this game week and the next several game weeks after that. So anyway, let's get on with the video. So I'm going to do 2 from one team, 2 from another, 2 from another, and 2 from another. So the first 2 set of players are the Leeds boys. So we've got Rafinha and Patrick Bamford. So both of them have really good fixtures coming up. If you look on screen now, that is Leeds' next 6 fixtures. That is an outstanding set of fixtures. All green, bar 1, and they can pick up points in those games and obviously score goals. Leeds haven't started off the season very well, but we know they have the capability to score goals. And Rafinha and Bamford are guaranteed starters, and you know what they bring. Rafinha is owned by 15.2% of the game, so he's quite lowly owned, and he only costs 6.5 million. So if you bring him in, you will have the funds to spend on like a Ronaldo or a Lukaku or a Salah, if so, because he is a cheap player. And then Patrick Bamford, he is owned by 12.9% of the game, so slightly less than Rafinha, but he does come in at a higher price point at 7.9 million. But, for example, you probably have Danny Ings in your team because he had really good fixtures at the start of the season. And now that his fixtures are starting to get harder, you're probably thinking, who do I replace Danny Ings with? And maybe you don't want to spend the big bucks on the Ronaldo or Lukaku. Patrick Bamford's your man. You can bring him in. All right, there is someone else that you could also bring in, but Patrick Bamford does look like a very good option. So Bamford and Rafinha are the 2 best options for Leeds, in my opinion. And the next 2 players on the list are the Wolves boys. So you've got Raul Jimenez and Marcel. So reasonings for picking Raul Jimenez, they're pretty self-explanatory. He is the number 9 for Wolves. He hasn't started off the season great, but he is a bit rusty as he was out for a while. And he's only owned by 4.1% of the game, and he only costs 7.4 million. And if you look at Wolves' fixtures, just take a look. They were even filled on screen. There they are right there. Absolutely brilliant. Brentford, Southampton, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Leeds, all these teams that Wolves can get goals in. And they haven't scored too many this season, but they have been creating a lot of chances and having taking lots of shots on goal, which is very good right there. So Raul Jimenez does look like a good option, and either him or Bamford are probably the best replacement options for Danny Ings at the moment. And the other Wolves lad that I was on about was Marcel. So the Wolves defender comes in at 4.5 million, so he's really cheap. So he's a budget enabler, allows you to bring more expensive players into your team, and he's only owned by 4.1% of the game. So he's differential, and he's cheap, and he's played well recently. The last game, he got an assist, he played a full 90 minutes, kept a clean sheet, got all the bonus points, and got respectable 13 points right there. And also this season, Wolves, there hasn't been very many high-scoring games of Wolves, so they could potentially keep a lot of clean sheets. Also, their next set of fixtures are against teams who don't necessarily score too many goals. So bringing in Marcel, an attacking left wing-back who can get attacking returns, and then obviously Wolves' fixtures do look quite good, so you can get clean sheet points as well. It does look good for bringing Marcel into your team. And the next 2 players on the list play for Everton. So the first one is Andros Townsend. So he only costs 5.4 million, so he is cheap, very cheap in fact, and he is only owned by 0.8%. And I know you may be thinking, well, he only had a good game yesterday, but if Andros Townsend gets regular game time in this Everton team, where they have Demarai Gray, Richarlison, Doucouré, we'll get into a minute, Digne, creating chances, he could score a fair few goals. And if you look at his fixtures, they aren't amazing, but they're not awful neither. He plays the likes of Norwich, Watford, and Wolves in his next, 6, 7, 8 games. Games where he can get points in, score goals, create chances. Obviously, you know, he's got a brilliant left foot, and that's why he scored the banger yesterday against Burnley. And his partner in crime is Doucouré. So this is a weird one. Not many people probably ever talk about Doucouré in FPL, but I did watch the Everton game last night, and Doucouré was playing well. And usually associate Doucouré as playing a holding midfield role or a central midfield role and not really advancing too much up the pitch. But against Burnley last night, he was having the free roam to run up the pitch, and he was getting involved with the attacks, and he played a beautiful ball through to Demarai Gray to get an assist. So yeah, he played well, and also he had a goal that he scored, but obviously it was disallowed and didn't count. But Doucouré looks like if he's going to take up that more advanced position more often, he could create more chances and could possibly score more goals for Everton. And he only costs 5.5 million. And he's only owned by 2.1% of the game. So if you latch onto him early, and not many people have him, and he gets a big haul, you know, it does look quite good there for your team. And the final 2 players on the list are the Arsenal players. We got Kieran Tierney and Emil Smith-Rowe. So Kieran Tierney and Emil Smith-Rowe are they're very likely to start for Arsenal, especially Tierney. And you may think, Arsenal, why choose Arsenal? But if you look at their next set of fixtures, they do look quite good. They play Burnley, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, and Watford in the next 6, 7 games. It's quite good there if you ask me. And Arsenal had the third best defence in the Premier League last season. So although they may look weak in defence, they do have a pretty solid defence there and they can perform on their day. And Kieran Tierney is only owned by 6.1% of the game. So he's sub 10%, so he's differential, and he only comes in at 4.9 million, so he's cheap. He's a budget enabler. He allows you to bring more players into the side. And also, last week against Norwich, he got a bonus point as well, and he could have got an assist if Aubameyang scored this goal where, I don't know, Aubameyang got loads of space, and I think it went narrowly past the post or something. But Tierney's playing well, and he's a guaranteed starter, and they've got a lot of fixtures where he can get attacking returns and clean sheet points in, so he looks like a good option. And his partner in crime, well, not really partner in crime, but his mate in the team, well, I assume they're mates, Emil Smith-Rowe. So Emil Smith-Rowe is only owned by 3.7% of the game, so he's... Take a look at that cheesy grin. He's so happy to be at Arsenal. Super differential, and he only costs 5.3 million, so he's cheap as well. And obviously, if he doesn't start, well, he's played 90 minutes in 3 out of the 4 games and then 28 in the other, the most recent one. But even if he doesn't start, you surely because he's so cheap, you have players who you can bring off the bench for him. And Emil Smith-Rowe is a really good player, and I do expect him to start for Arsenal. They have Saka, they have Aubameyang, obviously they have Lacazette, Pepe, and Smith-Rowe and Odegaard. But Smith-Rowe stands out for me because when I watched him play Chelsea, he was the player he was really the only player who was trying that game. He was trying to get shots in the goal, create chances when the whole of the team wasn't really ticking and playing properly. So that's why I think Emil Smith-Rowe is a good option, and also because he's cheap, because you never know with Arsenal. They may not play well in the next several games. And when you're thinking, why did I bring a 7, 8 or 9 or 10 million pound Aubameyang in when I could have got a Smith-Rowe in? And their fixtures, like I've said, they are very good on paper, and Smith-Rowe could profit and get points for your FPL team. So the usual thing, if you have any questions about what players you should bring into your team, put them in the comment section. And remember, like and subscribe if you have enjoyed the video. And this is my setup for anyone who's interested. So I got the light there, it's quite close today, but that's the one that shines on me to make it brighter on camera. And then I got the tripod there, that's what I put my phone in. And then I got my iPad there, that's what I read off of, the stats and all that stuff for the video.